Hey, we're talking some more about David Koresh or Vernon Howell, and we're going to dive into this power struggle when he takes over the Mount Carmel facility. Again, in the previous segment I talked about, there was indication that Koresh and Lois, who was the prophetess in charge of Mount Carmel, they had a thing. It was a significant thing. They traveled to the Holy Land together, and when she died, there was a power struggle between Koresh and her son George. He apparently backed away, but then in 1987 returned to Mount Carmel, camouflaged, heavily armed. We're talking 5.223 semi-automatic rifles, 2.22 rifles, 2 12-gauge shotguns, 400 rounds of ammunition, and got in a gunfight with a tree, allegedly, where Roden, Lewis's son, was shot in the chest and hands. These followers, these 6 or 7 men, including David Koresh, went on trial for attempted murder. They were acquitted, and I don't know if this was just one of those where the jury felt like this is just what they do, or maybe it was just a sign of the times, the tolerance of this kind of religious belief. You got to remember that in Texas, this is absolutely the Bible Belt. People are very respectful of other people's Christian religious views, especially in Central Texas, where people haven't been exposed to, a lot of other religions. There's not a lot of other faiths outside the big cities. So some eccentricity within a group of Christians is very likely to be tolerated by a group of largely very strict fundamentalist Baptists and Methodists, Episcopalians, Lutherans that kind of make up the population of Central Texas. It might not have been perceived to be as big a deal as the district attorney thought it was, and therefore they didn't convict him. They had a mistrial, which means they couldn't reach a verdict. So back to the takeover, right? Koresh and what his background, upbringing, what have you, is all very relevant. I'll cover that in the next segment, but we've got to have a little understanding of who this leader was and how he was able to, what his experiences were and what he brought to the Mount Carmel folks that led them to not only believe in David's end of times theory of the world, but that put them on this path of, doomsday prepping that got the attention of the United States government, the ATF in particular, with regard to purchasing, modifying, and selling certain weapons with or without licenses, whether they were modified, whether those modifications were legal, and all the other things that got, not unlike what happened to the FLDS, right? When you start getting the attention of law enforcement and you don't do anything to diminish the attention you're getting, in fact, you raise your profile instead of lowering it, then it puts you on this path of your self-fulfilling prophecy that the world's going to end in gunfire and hellfire. So more to come on David Koresh, the Branch Davidians, and true crime in Texas next.